Cyberbrainer is an online training platform designed to help individuals and teams learn the latest technologies and become certified professionals, producing a comprehensive learning experience.
So let me take this particular security policy for domain, which is going to be adding government IDs, and where this particular task comes in is I go to actions for Carolee, and I come to add government identifier, and usually for a normal person, this is done by either an HR partner or the employee as self. They are the people who will be usually doing this, and I go to edit personal information. I already have a personal information change that is happening. I'll just go and cancel this. I don't want this to mess around with ours, right? I go back to Carolee, go to Help Profile, and, if you see, this particular domain says Person Data, add government identifier, change personal information. So let's see if you have the. Let me go to Person Data, and I will go into something which is available over here. Let me go to a date of birth. Yeah, this is better. Alright, because I want to explain one simple concept for all of you to understand it. See, let me pick this particular domain. Now, here the domain is going to be person data, data of birth. And this is actually going to be deciding who has access to the date of birth of people and who can modify this particular information. That is what is driven, or this is what is actually deciding who can do what. Alright, those who can view this particular information. Some of you may ask why I do not see the employee as self over here. That is because employee is actually part of these security groups and the ISSCs and everything. I says it's a little more complex term. It's more like a group of security. You understand that it's a group of security, so that is where it is all coming from. So person data, personal data. And then I have date of birth. This is the business. This is actually the domain which drive this. And when I go across to Secureable Actions, I click on the number 5 over here. I have several tasks over here. If you see Edit Row for Edit Date of Birth, Active View Page. This is one of the tasks I have. And I may have other tasks, which are part of my date of birth. So, for example, like I said yesterday, if I do not have View and Modify Access, I will not be able to edit this particular information. And all of this is given by this particular domain that I have over here. And the access and security privileges which come in from this domain security policy. And likewise, I can also make changes to another person's domain. So let me open Logan McNeil's profile, alright. Because it is in. I am not. I am taking Logan McNeil, because I do not want to carry the transaction as an employee yourself. Rather, let me, as. Carolee, let me go and modify the information. So I go across to personal data. And let me go across to edit personal information. I will grab. I can't solve all of these. Because I don't want to show that to you as an employee, but rather I want to show this as another use of the data. So that's going to be more helpful for you. This is completed. This is that business process completed. It shows in progress. Alright, now I should be able to do it. I am going across to Logan McNeese information and I am going to be editing her data. Worth information. Like I said, this particular domain is going to decide whether I have the access to edit the personal information and, more specifically, the data worth information of Logan McNeese or not. And again, this particular pencil icon that you see over here will be visible only to those who have the modify access. If I do not have the modify access, I will not be able to edit it, whereas I will be only able to view this information and to no other action. This is number 1. Number 2, say, for example, if you want to see the domain which is actually controlling this particular task, how do I go about this? For example, you have come over to change personal information and you have this data worth. But you see that this particular data worth is showing only as view and not editable. How will you debug this? For that, we have a specific screen available, which is going to help you out this. Please remember this very well. This is very, very important. I just typed view SEC for SEC, which is called as view security for Secureable Item. And we call it in our own jargon, says view SEC for SEC, which is view security for Secureable Item. So what this effectively does is here. If I say data of birth, or I can even say change date of birth. Based on this particular Secureable item that I am going to be entering, it is going to give me all the list of tasks and the domains that are going to be linked to this. I will repeat. I come over to view security for Secureable Item and I type the task as change data, birth, and it is going to give me all the list of actions which I can do. For this particular one, or it is a reverse, instead of going from my domain, what if I do not know the domain? I only know the task name. The task name I chose was edit personal information or date of birth. And I come in the reverse order over here. I am going to click on this particular page and what is the task that I use is called as view security for Secureable Item, or in short, we say view SEC for section. And even in the task, in the search, you just have to have view SEC for SEC, you are going to get it. So very simple task. And with this I will be able to find out what is the domain linked to the specific task or page. The action that I want to do, whether I have the relevant permissions for it or not, is also going to be available. For example, Instead of I am not going to say change date of birth, for example, I am just going to say only change only date of birth, so that it is going to give a more exhaustive list for me. I am just putting it as only date of birth so that it is going to give me more exhaustive list. Let us see what it comes up, because we have only around 9 actions over tax tasks over here. Why I want to go with this is C. I have so many tasks over here. Why I want to highlight this is, like I said earlier, there are multiple options for you to edit or view the same information and work. It is not necessary for me to go only based on one particular way. I can do it in one way. You can do it in your own way as well. So there are multiple options, and it depends on how you want to do this. Alright. So, for example, first one, it shows correct my date of birth, which is going to be specific only to me, which is, as an employee, will I be able to edit the date of birth information or not? Why I am having this particular task over here is because certain organizations may restrict this. They may say that if you want to edit your date of birth post hire, raise a ticket to your support team, and your support team is the only person who can do this. You cannot edit your information by your own self or without any checks and balances. And if I click on this security, it is going to give me all the relevant details about which functional area. Why I'm repeating it is because you just need to tie this down to where this is actually flowing to, and date of birth may flow into multiple areas. It may float your benefits section, because in your benefits section you need to determine what is your age based on your certain.
Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.